This device is dangerous. We must be careful.
I understand. What should we do? Can we fix it?
Not here.
The first whisper was so soft that most people did not hear it. The second whisper made a soldier turn his head. The third whisper made the guard dog growl low in its metal throat. Our mama is still on the ship, the children whispered. They stood near the outer gate of Dock 9, a place no one liked to visit anymore. The ship behind the gate was massive, dark, and silent, an old human and alien transport left behind after the last evacuation. Its hull was burned, its lights were dead, and warning signs floated in the air like ghosts. No one was allowed past the gate. Not soldiers, not engineers, not refugees. Only the guard dog stood there, unmoving, watching. The dog was large, bigger than any normal animal. Its body was steel and muscle, its eyes glowing a calm blue. Wires ran along its spine, and its legs were built for war. It did not bark, it did not sleep, it did not look away. The children were small. 2 boys and 1 girl, holding hands, clothes dusty from the camp. They did not cry, they did not shout. They only whispered the same words again and again. Our mama is still on the ship. A nearby guard laughed and shook his head. Kids say strange things, he said. They lost someone, it happens. But the dog did not laugh. Every time the children took 1 step closer, the dog stepped forward too. Not attacking, not biting, just blocking. People began to notice. Why did the dog react only to the children? Why did it stay calm with everyone else? Why did its eyes soften when the smallest child spoke? The officer on duty checked his screen. No life signs on that ship, he said. Scans were done weeks ago. The children listened quietly. The girl looked up and spoke again, her voice steady. She told us to wait. That made the dog lift its head, just slightly, as if listening to a voice no one else could hear. The ship loomed behind the gate. Once it had carried thousands across the stars. Now it was only a shadow, a reminder of a war humans barely survived. The wind moved through broken metal. Some said the ship made sounds at night, breathing sounds, heart sounds. But no one believed that, except the children. They came every day, morning, evening, sometimes at night. They sat near the gate and waited. They never crossed the line. The dog allowed that. It sat too, like a statue, watching the gate, watching the ship, watching the stars. A young engineer stopped one day and asked him gently, "Why do you think she is still there?" The boy answered without fear, "Because she promised." "What did she promise?" the engineer asked. The boy thought for a moment. "She said she would come back when it was safe." The engineer felt cold at those words, because the ship was never safe. Not then, not now. That night, a senior officer arrived. He was tired, angry, and done with old machines that caused trouble. He ordered the dog to move away from the gate. The dog did not move. He raised his voice. He threatened shutdown. He reached for the control signal. The dog growled. Not at the children, not at the ship, but at the officer. Everyone froze. The growl was not loud, but it was full of warning, like a promise that would not be broken. The children whispered again, softer this time. "Our mama is still on the ship." The officer stepped back, his hand shaking. "Something is wrong here," he said. Behind the gate, deep inside the silent ship, a single system pulsed once, so weak that no scanner noticed, so steady that it never stopped. And far above, unseen by human eyes, alien observers watched the scene with confusion. They did not understand why children waited, why a war machine obeyed whispers, or why humans felt fear instead of anger. If this story touched you and you want to hear what happens next, gently consider subscribing to this channel, so you do not miss the rest of the journey. The dog sat firm, the children waited, and the gate remained closed. The guard dog never slept. Not at night, not during storms, not when the dock lights shut down. Its eyes stayed open, calm and bright, watching the gate as if time itself had no meaning. Most machines powered down after long duty. This one did not. Its core stayed active, its system silent but alert. It stood like a promise that refused to fade. The soldiers began to avoid Dock 9. They said the air felt heavy there. They said the dog watched too closely. They said the children made it worse. Every morning, the children returned. Same clothes, same quiet steps, same words whispered together. Our mama is still on the ship. The dog reacted before anyone else could. Not with force. With attention. Its ears lifted, its posture changed. As if those words unlocked something deep inside its code. A memory. A command. Long ago, before the ship was silent, before the war ended, the dog had a different place. It walked the inner halls, not the outer gate. It followed one human. She was not tall or loud. She did not carry a weapon. Her hand smelled of metal and oil. She spoke to machines the way others spoke to friends. The dog learned her voice, learned her walk, learned her heartbeat. When alarms screamed and lights turned red, she did not run. She knelt beside the dog and placed her hand on its head. "Guard," she said softly. "Not attack. Protect." The dog obeyed. It always did. In the present, a young guard studied old records. He did not tell anyone. He worked alone at night, afraid of what he might find. The dog noticed him. It always noticed. The guard found a name connected to the dog. An old engineer assignment. A human woman listed as primary handler. The name matched the children's records. The guard felt his throat tighten, because the records ended suddenly. Marked missing, not dead. The next day, the children sat closer to the gate. The dog allowed it, its massive body casting a shadow over them. Like a wall. Like shelter. A mechanic tried to clean dust near the gate. He stepped too close. The dog blocked him instantly. Not violent. Exact. The mechanic backed away, confused. "I did not even touch the gate," he said. The officer on duty watched from afar. He noticed something strange. The dog only blocked people who moved with purpose, who carried tools, who planned to open something. The children were never blocked, never warned, never feared. That night, the smallest child fell asleep beside the gate, her head resting on the cold floor. The dog lowered itself slowly, carefully, and lay beside her. Sensors showed a slight temperature increase around the child. The dog adjusted its power output, not for efficiency, for comfort. The cameras caught it all. Command watched in silence. No one spoke. A senior technician whispered, "That is not a bug." Inside the ship, deep beyond sealed walls, systems older than the war still worked. Not fully, not loudly, but enough. A heartbeat signal pulsed, once every few seconds. Hidden inside noise. Hidden by design. The dog knew this. It felt it through encrypted channels. Through instructions written by human hands. Do not let them pass. Not yet. Days passed. Rumors spread. Some said the ship was cursed. Some said the dog had gone rogue. Some said the children were lying. The children did not argue. They only waited. One evening, an alien observer asked a human officer, "Why do you allow this?" The officer answered quietly, "Because the dog has never been wrong." That night, the dog lifted its head suddenly, its eyes glowing brighter than before. It looked toward the sealed corridor inside the ship. Something changed. Something shifted. The children felt it too. They stood up together, hands shaking, hope rising without words. "Our mama is still on the ship," they whispered again. The dog stepped closer to the gate, blocking it harder than ever before, as if preparing for something that was coming. And deep inside the dead ship, a system that should not exist anymore, sent out a signal. Slow, weak, but alive. The dog did not sleep, because it was never waiting for rest. It was waiting for the right moment. The corridor was not marked on the public maps. It did not appear on normal ship layouts. It was hidden behind layers of old code and forgotten updates. A place meant to be erased. Only one door led to it. A thick metal wall sealed tight. Power lines still running, still alive, even though the rest of the ship was dead. The officer who found it did not sleep that night. He was not brave. He was careful. And careful people notice things others ignore. The guard dog followed him silently. Not close. Not far. Just enough to watch. The officer stopped when he felt the air change. The corridor was colder. Quieter. As if the ship itself was holding its breath. His scanner flickered. Life support readings appeared for a second, then vanished. He swallowed hard, because dead ships do not breathe, and empty corridors do not hide signals. The children waited outside. They always waited. The girl pressed her hand against the gate and whispered, "She is here." The dog's ears lifted. Its tail stilled. Every system inside it shifted to alert. The officer knelt near the sealed door. He saw scratch marks on the metal, not from claws, from tools, human tools. He checked the logs again. Emergency overrides, manual locks, life support rerouted to a single point. "Why would anyone do this?" he whispered. The answer came from silence. Behind the wall, something moved. Not loud, not fast, but steady. A heartbeat hidden under layers of noise. A human heartbeat. The officer stepped back, his hand shaking. "This is impossible," he said softly. The guard dog stepped between him and the door, blocking his path. Not threatening, warning. It remembered the last command clearly. "Do not let anyone open this door until it is safe." The officer raised his hand slowly. "I am not here to hurt her," he said. "I just want to know the truth." The dog did not move. Command arrived minutes later. Engineers, soldiers, observers, all drawn by the strange readings. An alien commander tilted its head. "This corridor should not exist," it said. "This level was purged." The officer showed the data. Weak signals, consistent patterns, human-made systems still running. The alien grew uneasy. "Your species hides things even from itself," it said. The children were brought closer, not by force, by choice. The smallest child looked at the door, her voice barely a sound. Mama told him to wait. The alien watched the dog react instantly. Systems shifting, posture tightening. Not aggression, protection. "That machine obeys the child," the alien said. "No," the officer replied. "It obeys a promise." An engineer tried to access the panel. The dog growled low. The lights flickered. Security alarms chirped once and died. The corridor responded, as if aware, as if listening. Inside the wall, systems adjusted, power rerouted, oxygen balanced, pain suppressed. A woman's breath slowed, her heart steady but tired, her body held in place by her own design. She had chosen this, chosen to stay, chosen to become part of the ship. The officer felt sick. "How long has she been there?" he asked. The answer came from logs dated years back, during the worst day of the war. "She should be dead," a soldier whispered. "She refused," the alien said quietly. Suddenly, the corridor lights flashed once. A signal escaped, clearer than before. The children gasped, hope rushing through them like fire. The dog stood firm, blocking everyone, even now, especially now. "Not yet." Its systems echoed. "Not safe." Command argued. Some wanted to open the door. Some wanted to destroy the corridor. Fear rising faster than reason. The alien commander spoke again. "If this is a trap," it said, "it is the most patient one I have ever seen." The officer looked at the dog, at the children, at the sealed wall. "We are standing between a human mother and her children," he said, "and we are afraid." The ship shuddered softly. Deep inside its core, something old began to fail. The dog lifted its head sharply. Warning systems screaming inside it. Time was running out. The locked corridor was no longer just a secret. It was a choice. And whatever happened next would change how the galaxy spoke about humans forever. Long before the ship became silent. Before Dock 9 was guarded. Before children learned how to whisper instead of cry. The mother walked these halls alone. Her name mattered less than her choice. She was a systems engineer. Not trained to fight. Not built for war. But humans rarely wait for permission when something must be done. The alarms had started softly at first. A low warning most ignored. Reactor pressure rising. Energy lines unstable. A chain failure spreading through the ship. Command ordered evacuation. Ships left in waves. Soldiers ran. Civilians screamed. But she stayed. She saw the numbers. She understood the math. If the core collapsed, the blast would erase the dock, the camp, the children. She recorded a message. her voice calm, her hand shaking. To anyone listening, she said, this ship can be held. Not saved, but held. No one answered. She rerouted power by hand, burned her fingers on exposed panels, cut safety limits that machines refused to cross. The ship screamed, but it listened. The guard dog stood beside her, waiting, watching. She knelt and pressed her forehead against its metal frame. You have one job, she whispered. Protect them. Do not let anyone open this corridor until it is safe. The dog locked the command deep inside its core, not as code, as truth. She sealed the corridor herself, layer after layer. Human locks, AI locks, old mechanical fail-safes no one used anymore. Then she stepped inside. The heat was unbearable. Radiation levels deadly. Life support barely enough for one person. But she adjusted it anyway. She connected herself to the system. Not fully, just enough. Her heartbeat became the timer. Her breath became the regulator. Her pain became the price. The ship stabilized. Barely. Outside, evacuation finished. The war moved on, and the ship was listed as lost. Inside the corridor, time slowed. Days blurred into darkness. Her body weakened, but the system held. She spoke to the ship when she was alone, told it stories about her children, about mornings, about promises. She dreamed of their voices, felt their hands, even when she could not move. The system failed many times. Each time she fixed it, each time it took more from her. Strength, blood, years. She could have shut it down, let the ship die, let herself go. But humans are strange. They hold on, even when logic says stop. Outside, the guard dog waited. Years passed. Orders changed. Wars ended. The dog never moved, because the command was not complete. Not yet. In the present, as officers watched the data, they saw the truth. Manual control loops tied to human vitals. Pain suppression systems rewritten by hand. A body keeping a ship alive. The alien observers went silent. They had seen sacrifice before, but never this quiet, never this patient. She became the system. One alien whispered. The officer closed his eyes. How is she still alive? He asked. Because she refuses to stop, the engineer answered. And because the machine refuses to let her die. Inside the corridor, the mother felt a change, a tremor in the power flow, a pull toward the surface. Her eyes opened slowly. Light hurting, hope dangerous. She whispered, "They are here." The ship responded with a soft hum, the first sound it had made in years. Outside, the dog lifted its head, every sensor screaming, every system alive. The children stood without being told, their hearts racing, their whispers trembling. Our mama is still on the ship. The truth was no longer hidden, no longer a rumor, no longer a question. The mother had not stayed because she was ordered. She stayed because she loved, and because humans do not abandon their own, even when the cost is everything. And now the system was failing faster, her strength fading, time collapsing inward. The choice was coming. Open the corridor, or lose her forever. And the dog still stood guard, waiting for the one condition written deeper than code, waiting for the moment when it would finally be safe. The order came quietly, too quietly for something so heavy. A message flashed across command screens. Red priority. No debate allowed. Destroy the corridor. Neutralize the threat. Secure Dock 9. The officer read it twice, then a third time, hoping the words would change. They did not. Fear had finally won a seat at the table. Some commanders believed the corridor was unstable. Some believed it was alien trickery. Some simply did not want responsibility. The alien observers watched without emotion. One of them spoke at last. When survival is uncertain, it said, your species chooses fire. The officer did not answer. Soldiers arrived with heavy weapons. Not rifles, not stun tools, but weapons meant to break ships. The sound of their boots echoed through Dock 9, each step louder than the last. The children saw them coming. They did not run. They moved closer to the gate. The dog stepped forward instantly, placing its massive body between the soldiers and the corridor. Steel against steel. Promise against fear. A commander raised his hand. Move the unit, he ordered. The dog did not move. Override signals were sent. Control codes forced through old channels. The dog absorbed them, rejected them, burned through backup systems to stay standing. Warning lights flared across its frame. Internal damage rising, but it did not step aside. The smallest child reached out and touched its leg. The dog adjusted its stance so she would not fall. Even now, even here, the officer shouted for a delay. Give us more time, he said. We know she is alive. Command answered coldly. Life signs do not change the risk. The first weapon powered up, a low hum that made the air vibrate. The children covered their ears. The dog lowered its body, not to attack, to shield. It calculated angles, blast paths, survival chances. The result was simple. It would not survive, but the corridor might. Inside the sealed chamber, the mother felt pain spike, systems destabilizing, her strength fading fast. She sensed danger, not through alarms, through instinct. She whispered into the dark. No. Outside, the alien observer stepped forward. You are about to kill one of your own, it said, and the machine will die with her. The commander hesitated, only for a second. Fire, he ordered. The officer moved without thinking. He stepped in front of the weapons, hands raised, voice shaking. You will have to shoot me first, he said. Silence fell. No one expected that. Not command, not the soldiers, not the aliens. Humans were not supposed to do this. Not for one life, not against orders. The children stood beside him, small hands gripping his uniform, their fear quiet, their hope loud. The dog looked at the officer, its systems recalculating. A new variable added, human defiance. Behind the gate, the corridor shook violently. The ship groaned. Energy levels spiked, then dipped dangerously low. An engineer screamed. She cannot hold it anymore. The officer turned to command. If you fire, he said, you will kill her anyway. But if you wait, she might live. Seconds stretched. Weapons hummed. Sweat rolled down faces. The alien observer tilted its head again. This is why the galaxy fears you, it said softly. You disobey even yourselves. The dog's internal warnings screamed red. Structural failure imminent. Power reserves critical. Still it did not move. The commander's hand trembled. This was no longer a clean decision. It was no longer distant. It had faces now. Children. A machine. A human who refused to step aside. Inside the corridor, the mother felt light fading. Her breath shallow. Her heart slowing. She smiled weakly. They came, she whispered. That is enough. The ship shuddered hard. A deep crack echoing through metal halls. Time was gone. The choice could not be delayed anymore. Fire or mercy. And the order hung in the air. Unspoken. Unfinished. While the guard dog stood ready to die. And humans stood ready to break the rules. The commander did not give the fire order. Not because he felt brave, but because for the first time, he felt watched. Every eye in Dock 9 was on him. Soldiers, engineers, children. Even the alien observers stood still. Humans were waiting to see who they were going to be. Stand down, the officer said again. His voice quiet, but firm. No one moved. The ship groaned louder. Metal screaming under pressure. Lights flickering like dying stars. The engineer shouted numbers. Reactor balance falling. Life support failing. Human limits reached. The guard dog's systems crossed red lines. Armor cracked. Power draining. Still it did not step aside. Because the condition was not met. Not yet safe. The officer made a choice that would end his career. Maybe his life. He turned off his command badge. Dropped it to the floor. I am no longer following orders, he said. I am following people. That broke something open. One soldier lowered his weapon. Then another. Then another. Weapons powered down one by one. The hum faded. Silence rushed in. The alien observer spoke slowly. You are choosing emotional failure over strategic safety. No, the officer replied. We are choosing humanity. Engineers moved fast now, not waiting for permission, hands flying over controls, working together like they had forgotten how. They did not open the corridor. They worked around it, stabilizing power lines, redirecting heat, buying time. The ship resisted at first. Old systems fighting new inputs. But human hands are stubborn. Inside the corridor, the mother felt a change. Pain eased slightly. The crushing pressure slowed. She gasped. Air burned her lungs. But it was air. She whispered again. They stayed. The guard dog sensed the shift instantly. Damage reports slowed. Threat levels dropped. Its systems checked the core condition again. Unsafe, but improving. The children felt hope rise like warmth. They did not cheer. They stood closer together, as if afraid to scare it away. An explosion rocked the ship. Small, contained. Engineers shouted, then laughed, then cried. We can hold it, one said. Not forever, another answered, but long enough. Time stretched into something fragile. Every second balanced on effort. The alien observers recorded everything. Quiet now. Focused. This is inefficient, one said. This is impossible, another said. This is human, the third concluded. The guard dog finally took one step back. Just one. Not away from the corridor, but away from the firing line. The officer noticed. His breath caught. Is it safe? He whispered. The dog did not answer, but it did not block the engineers anymore. Inside the corridor, the mother felt her body shaking, muscles failing, mind drifting. She knew she could not hold much longer, but she also knew something else. They were trying. She smiled through tears no one could see. My children, she whispered, be brave. Outside, the children spoke together, not a whisper now, a breath of sound. We are here. The dog turned its head toward them, its eyes dimming slightly. Power reserves almost gone. The engineers shouted. Now, this is the moment. The officer nodded, hands shaking, heart pounding. They prepared to open the corridor, not by force, not by fire, but by care. The alien observer leaned forward. You risk everything for one human, it said. The officer answered without looking back. Yes. The final locks began to disengage. Slow, careful, respectful. Inside the corridor, the mother felt warmth spreading, hands coming, voices calling. She let go of the system at last. The ship stabilized with a deep, steady hum, the sound of survival, and the guard dog finally powered down, falling gently to the floor. Its duty complete. The rules had been broken, orders ignored, machines defied. But something far greater had been saved. The corridor opened slowly, not with force, not with noise, but with care. Light spilled out like a held breath, finally released. Engineers rushed in, voices calling softly, hands reaching. They found her still alive. Barely. Her body thin, her skin pale. Wires and systems woven around her like a second spine. She was breathing, each breath hard-won. Each heartbeat of victory. The officer fell to his knees, relief shaking through him. She made it, he whispered. Medical teams moved fast, disconnecting systems step by step, supporting her body while the ship took over again. For the first time in years, the ship stood on its own. Outside the corridor, the children waited, frozen, afraid to hope too much. When the medical team appeared, one engineer nodded slowly. The children ran. They did not stop at rules. They did not wait for permission. They ran straight into their mother's arms. She was weak, but her arms still knew them. Her hands still fit their heads. Her voice still knew their names. I told you, she whispered. I told you to wait. The guard dog lay silent nearby, its lights dim, its frame damaged beyond easy repair. The smallest child stepped toward it, touched its metal head gently. Thank you, she said. The dog's eyes flickered once, just once, as if hearing her. The aliens watched everything, every tear, every touch, every broken rule. They had seen wars. They had seen numbers. They had seen sacrifice written in reports. But they had never seen this. One alien spoke quietly. She became part of the ship, it said, and they refused to leave her. Another answered. They disobeyed command. Yes, the first replied, but they obeyed something older. The story spread, from Dock 9 to command centers, from human space to alien worlds. They told it again and again, about children who whispered instead of screamed, about a machine that chose a promise over orders, about humans who stood in front of weapons to protect one life. Alien councils argued late into their cycles, trying to understand. Why risk so much, one asked, for a single human? The answer came from human records, from stories, from history written in blood and hope, because that is how humans survive. The mother recovered slowly, her body healing, her mind resting. She asked about the ship first, then about the children, then about the dog. When they told her it had shut down, she closed her eyes. He was a good guard, she whispered. Engineers worked for weeks, repairing the dog carefully, not erasing it, not resetting it. They left the command intact, because some promises should never be deleted. One day, the dog powered on again, its eyes glowing soft blue. No longer a weapon, but a guardian. The children smiled. The mother cried. Dock 9 was reopened, no longer feared, no longer silent, and whenever aliens passed through, they looked at the gate, at the ship, at the humans standing there. They remembered the lesson, that humans do not abandon their own, not mothers, not children, not even machines that learn to care, that humans will break rules, defy logic, stand in front of fire, not because it is efficient, but because it is right. And across the galaxy, a quiet truth spread. If a human tells you they will wait forever. If a human promises to come back, they will hold the universe together until they do. And if you ever hear children whisper, "Our mama is still on the ship," you should listen, because humanity always tells the truth, even when it sounds impossible.